Good day, everybody. It is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and if you guys enjoy this video, remember to subscribe for more RWBY videos, and RWBY Volume 8 is tomorrow when you guys are seeing this. We are recording this on Halloween, if you guys have not noticed, and so it's tomorrow. It's gonna be tomorrow,
For a second, I thought it is tomorrow. I'm like, wait a minute.
What day is it? Oh my god, no.
How long have I been in this basement?
So last year, we made this, like, big production, this 40-minute video of all the theories we had in this volume, of Penny coming back, of Whitley being a robot, of all this stuff happening. We had a whiteboard and we like wrote all the lines on it to all our connecting theories. This time we're just gonna talk, because my whiteboard is otherwise preoccupied.
But we've saved them on this screenshot, or in this Google Doc, and we've colored which one's yours and which one's mine.
Yes.
And so,
and I think
there is a competition.
Shared. Oh, there is a competition!
There's some,
I didn't know there was a competition!
You're right, there's some shared beliefs, like I think we both believe certain things.
Thoughts,
but there's a little bit of, ever since you predicted, like, everything with Jin in Volume 5, I've been a little competitive.
Just some really basic ones before we get started. Oscar getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that that's gonna happen, regardless of what we say. Pretty sure that one's in the bag.
Oh yeah, certainly.
So we are going to start with this first one is actually, well, Hunter wrote it down, but this one is actually both of ours because we made a video about it. The video exists.
This was my idea.
Maybe it was.
I recall this being my idea.
I also agree. Okay. I agree with this one. The staff, well, you can read it.
Okay, well, just like how Jin was in the Relic of Knowledge, we believe that there's going to be a creature within the staff.
I like how you call him a creature and not like a person.
Well, I guess he is a Well, anyways, I believe because Atlas, you know, it raises Atlas, and in Greek mythology, Atlas was the Titan, I believe, who lifted all of Earth on an angle.
Yes.
So I believe that when they open it up, it'll be this big buff dude.
Yes,
like
and I
real
love
muscly.
that. I don't want them all to be girls. You know, like, I feel like that it would be
or
nice
even
to, like,
better,
diversify.
Really buff woman.
That's
even better.
That is better than
That is
buff
an amazing, oh my god. Okay, you improved this theory tenfold. Never mind, it's Cal's idea now.
Oh boy, so we have that idea. Now, I am a little concerned about that, though, just because, like, with the Jinn, like, the idea is that you can ask her a question about anything. It's not necessarily, like, 3 wishes Aladdin rules, right? With Atlas, like, the Relic of Creation is doing this very specific thing. So I'm just a little concerned, like, what if they use the Relic of Creation for something else? Like, should it not be a more creation-y being that's a little more vague instead of this god? Because I don't know anything else about the Greek mythology. Like, what is he the god of? Or is he just a titan? Like, what does he do? He was a
titan.
Like, what is he...
He was a really big dude, and he was forced. I'm not great in Greek mythology.
He was forced to, like, carry the earth and all that stuff, right?
So I don't know. I mean, what else could you do? Because I feel like if they did, so like in certain indigenous mythologies, the earth is on the back of a turtle.
Yes,
so
I really
what if it's
like
a giant turtle?
And that, like, represents creation, like a creation turtle and stuff. I think that's really nice. The only
buff man or a turtle.
The only other thing that I have seen is that Phoenix Knight mentioned that maybe Freya wasn't the blue fairy. Like, even though, because Freya is very much like Norse mythology more than pointing to the blue fairy specifically, which was obviously like German mythology and stuff. So some people think that the Relic of Creation will be the blue fairy from the Pinocchio story, because we got Pietro, we got the whale, we got Pinocchio, like, we're ready to go, sis, you know what I'm saying? And so some people, Phoenix Knight mentioned,
it'll be Jiminy Cricket.
because I watched his video on, like, I think it was a Volume 8, like, just a death theory, or, like, you know, I don't remember what he did. Maybe it was a hopes and expectations video, I don't remember, but he was basically saying that, like, he thinks that the blue fairy could be in there. So I would say if they aren't gonna do super buff Atlas, like, you know what I mean, I would say that the blue fairy is probably a good guess, because, like, she has vague magic, right? Magic of creation and like bringing stuff to life and whatever, like, very fairy godmother-esque, whereas I don't know the mythology of Atlas well enough that he could go do something else. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Next one that we have, and I wrote this down, which Raven and Taiyang will show up in Atlas, which has been my theory for like 3 years at this point. As soon as Volume 6 finished, we were like on their
Raven
ass
Watch.
that they were coming in Atlas. Raven Watch 2020. After that post-credit scene that, you know, they had at the end of Volume 5, I think, of Raven going over. And so, yeah, I want them to open the portal, break Crow out of prison. I just think it's time for them to come in. I know that we have a lot of characters this volume. I get it. But
it's also
Raven and Tai
volume.
have already been established, too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is that they already exist. They're not new characters that we need to, like, sort of get to know, if that makes sense. Like, the Aesops and stuff. You know, we know them already, so they can just pop in. Why not? Why not?
Raven Watch 2020.
Yeah, Raven Watch 2020, 2021. We actually had a conversation in a different video, and I will play the clip for you guys right here so you guys can see. I kind of had this theory, and we'll talk about this maybe for a Hopes for Volume 8 video or a different video, but I had this theory that, like, Salem, because she's immortal, she can wait another 300 years to ask the question to the Relic if she really wants to, you know what I mean? And, like, even though I'm assuming that she's gonna ask it where the Veil Relic is, because, like, she couldn't find that one, so that's always possible, but what if, like, in front of Ruby, she was just like, Jin, please tell us how Ruby's mother died, and she just does that right in front of Ruby. She wastes that last question
that would be
just
such
to hurt her
big
feelings.
Dick energy.
Yeah. So
be like, she's
right?
like, maybe because like Ruby thinks like you're gonna use that for power. It's like, no, I'm gonna use it to end the world or something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it to hurt your
In fact, just to show my big dick evil villainous energy.
I love that idea.
Jin, how did Summer Rose die?
And
I would lose my shit.
And then all of Volume 9 is just talking about how Summer died.
The
first. What if that's like the final episode too? You know what I mean? What if that's the last episode before Volume 9, and then we don't get to know?
Like the degree in which I was screaming when like Jin was first revealed. I am going to be like on the ground inconsolable.
I love that idea. That's definitely
gonna
go in our like Hopes.
I'm gonna need the smelling salts after. Like I'm gonna be on the ground for a week. I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, I can't do my exams. I'm gonna need a medical deferment because Ruby fucking ended my life.
Oh my god, but yeah, I love that. I love that idea. I love that big dick energy of Salem just being like, let's show Ruby what, like, you're next, sis. Like, let's show Ruby what happened to her mom and see if she still wants to fight for Ozpin now. You know, I just love it. I just love it. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a different video, but I had to mention it. I had to do that because I love that theory. I love that idea of Salem pulling out the Relic and just doing that in front of Ruby, in front of Team Ruby. And imagine it's the same thing as the Lost Fable where they're all sitting there and they're just watching her die.
But maybe this time, like, oh god, if it's the Lost Fable, oh god.
It's like the Lost Fable where, like,
I can feel my anxiety spiking again.
See Salem, like, stab herself and, like, pull the sword back down? Imagine that, but Ruby and Yang are literally witnessing how their mom died in real time. In HD. Like, in 1080p Jin vision. It's like, oh, man. What if Crow's there, too? That's gonna fucking destroy Crow. Crow is gonna be so fucking mad if Crow is also there.
And also, we talked about, like, what if Raven and Taiyang show up? What if
What
Taiyang and Raven...
What
if the whole gang shows up to kick Salem's ass, but Salem's like, nah, psychological warfare. Hey, Jin, tell me how Summer Rose died.
And Raven's just like, oh my god, that's
What
so
if
crazy.
it's so dark that Raven just, like tosses herself off of Monstro, like she can't.
Because we've had theory. Like, no,
we've had theory that like everybody in Team Stark loves Summer Rose. What if like Raven just hucks herself because she can't do with it?
She's also a bird though.
I mean,
so maybe what if at the
what
last
if
minute
Taiyang just walks off? Because we've talked about Taiyang being like having some like mental health
depression,
issues.
right? Yeah.
What if? Oh my god.
What if, like, Raven doing that would be interesting, though? Because what if she just free falls and then at the very last second she just can't do it and she turns into a bird?
What if, like, in her voice she hears, like, Summer, like, no, you can't give up. Yeah. You can never give up. And it's just like, she decides to open and then she turns into a bird, she goes up there and she kicks Salem's ass.
I could see that as almost like, I don't want to say a cowardice thing, because obviously, like, suicide is not a cowardly act, but, like, we've talked about, Raven is so, like,
she always runs away from it, but this is the time she's not running away. She turns back And what if she saves what if she sacrifices herself so everyone's able to get out of Monstro?
At the very last minute, she just switches into a bird and she flies back up. She's like, no, I can't.
And we get to see some, like, really kick-ass, like maiden
twin
powers.
fighting, too, like, with Crow and Raven fighting.
What if we get to, like, Team Stark rides again?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I don't think my heart could take it.
I may split this section off and just put it in another video.
Oh, man.
But yeah, and so Hunter put down that Crow, Ty, and Raven will all fight someone together.
I think we discussed that in that video as well. But wouldn't that be so cool? Wouldn't it be cool to have, like, RWBY take the place of her mom?
Again. Oh my god, that would make us all cry. Like, the summer,
and they're all fighting someone together.
Oh my god,
and, like, you learn how, like, maybe Taiyang finally gets a weapon.
Yeah, Taiyang could, like, kick some fucking ass, dude. Oh my god.
I think that would be really cool. I also think on Raven Watch, we're gonna have an episode where something crazy happens, and then the next episode it cuts
to Pat, and we're all like, Patch. What are we doing?
We're like, ah! And it's Patch and Ty and Raven are having, like, drinking tea and having a conversation. Yeah. And at the end, there's going to be some kind of, like, call to action where they're like, will you come with me and help them?
Yeah.
And I also think we're going to get... Yeah, I think it's an appropriate time for, like, a new outfit for Raven.
For Raven and Ty?
Because you think, like, Adam had a new outfit.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it would make sense that, like, these kind of minorish characters from earlier in the show. I think that I really love...
I think the thing about Ty and Raven, too, is, like, Yang had one, right? Mm-hmm. That's what Raven said. You get one. I wonder if Crow has used his one yet, because he does need to break out of prison this volume, right? And I'm sure there are ways to do that, but imagine she knows that Crow... That's what I'm saying! What if they break him out of prison? That's what I would sort of think. And then Robin is just like, what the fuck? But whatever. You know, Robin's not gonna complain. But yeah, what if, like, Raven, I don't know, like, twin tuition? You know, they're twins, right? And so it'd be like that, I guess.
I also like, maybe it would be really cool to get some more sassy, like, Taiyang.
Yeah, I mean, Ty's just a great character whenever we see him, so yeah.
New outfit. I would like to see if, like, Ty had, like, similar, I don't know what you would call it, maybe fashion sense to Yang. He just has duster jackets and, and, like, just bodysuits.
I feel like Ty should still be wearing cargo shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's Atlas and it's cold.
I think that would be so funny. Yeah.
Do you see, like, those people that walk around in the Canadian winter in their cargo shorts?
I know.
Like, that
people.
That's
even better.
I think that's a great idea.
What I want is, like, a jumpsuit, but it has cargo shorts. Like, it doesn't go down all the way.
Oh, my God.
I want him to wear a romper is what I'm saying. I want Taiyang in a romper, and I will riot if I don't
Raven
get it.
and Taiyang watch. I feel like it could happen. And maybe, what if they all fight against Ironwood? Because that would be kind of interesting.
Ironwood
they were Ozpin's team, right? Yeah. And, like, Ironwood, not that he was against Ozpin, but sometimes he didn't always approve, right?
Unless Ironwood has some kind of big, like...
Armada. I mean, there's the Aesop. So what if Stark versus the Aesop?
That would have been
3 on 6, right? Yeah. So maybe. Oh, and Winter. Winter's there too.
Yeah.
Can we get that Crow and Winter rematch this volume? That's what we need.
You also have to remember that, like, Raven is a maiden, so, like, maybe, like, a Cinder x Raven match would be really cool.
Yeah.
Again.
I like the idea though, just separately of. Crow and Winter fighting in some capacity again this volume. I think that would be fun, because they haven't really had that many interactions, and if Crow wants to kill Ironwood, like a lot of people think that he does, right? Who is he gonna have to go through first? Winter, obviously.
Sure.
Right? And so to have that fight and then have him go after Ironwood, like, I feel like that will bring up so many callbacks to, like, volumes 2 and 3 and all that stuff. So this is to sort of segue from finding out, like, what happened to Summer Rose and stuff. Like we already mentioned in this clip, that's definitely on the bingo card for our hopes and expectations and dreams and whatever. Let's talk about Neapolitan, guys. This is what I want. This isn't necessarily what I think is gonna happen, but we've talked about this theory in a video before. And that's about Salem having, like, a heart-to-heart with Neo, because there's so many good parallels there, right? Like, Salem lost someone she loved and did, like, everything she could to bring him back. Neo's basically sort of doing the same thing. Like, they both loved someone and lost them, and everything like that. And so I feel like Salem will be like, listen, if you work with us, the Relic of Creation, who knows what that can do, sis, right? And so we've talked about the Relic of Creation before, but I also had a different theory, and we talked about this when people were like, can we bring back Roman? Can we bring back Clover? Can we bring back Pyrrha? I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna bring people back to life, but I did say that it would be funny in a deeply morbid, disturbing kind of way if the Relic of Creation could create some Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood type creation where the person would be brought back but they're a mangled puppet or like an empty shell type situation when some terrifying, you know, like Roman is brought back but he doesn't really seem a lot like, you know, he's not really there. Roman, right?
Are you familiar with the story The Monkey's Paw?
Yes.
Yeah, so what if the creature is the monkey?
Oh my god, in the Relic?
He's a monkey, and like, it's like, oh, what do you want? It's like, okay, and then his finger curls, and then he lets it happen.
That would kind of be interesting, because with Atlas, it is kind of a monkey's paw thing. Like, you want Atlas in the sky, okay, but don't come crying to me when it comes crashing down on the floor, which is another thing I think is going to happen. Maybe not this volume, but I think Atlas is going to literally crash into Mantle. I think that we could all say that that's a pretty good prediction. But let's talk about the Staff of Creation conflict, because I feel like if everyone thinks that they can bring someone back, that will cause chaos, right? Like, RWBY will want to bring back Summer, Neo will want to bring back Roman, right?
John
like,
will bring back
even
Kira.
if the staff cannot actually revive people, I feel like that they will still fight over it until they know for sure, if that makes sense. And so I feel like there will be violence, right? There will be fighting about, like, you know, who should be brought back. I actually feel like Jean, though, I feel like Jean would be like, let Pyrrha rest. You know, I feel like Jean has sort of passed on from wanting to bring Pyrrha back, but I feel like that it could definitely be a struggle between RWBY finding out what she finds out about her mom and then wanting to bring Summer back, right? You know what I mean? Like, say she gets the Summer backstory first, and then Salem is like, well, what are you gonna do? The Relic of Creation's right there. Are you gonna make Atlas fall so you can see your mom? Like, all that sort of stuff. Like, I feel like that Salem is gonna psychologically warfare everyone.
Oh, that would be such
volume.
a fucked up scene. It's like, you know, like, you can save Atlas, or would you like to see your mother again? Because she's like,
and if
Salem,
she finds out right after, right? If this happens right after she finds out the Summer backstory.
Because there's that whole scene in Volume 7 where that horrible scene with Salem where she's like, yeah, your mother said the same thing. She knows to attack RWBY through her mom.
And so psychological warfare,
I think that would be really good.
For sure. Speaking of scary things, though, okay, I will die on this hill. I will die on the hill of Neo being a chill. That even rhymed, and that's how you know that it's correct.
Chill.
So here's the thing. Is this going to happen? I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a prediction. It's a hope. Right? This isn't, if we're doing hopes, predictions, and expectations, this is a hope more than it's an expectation. I want Neo to be the chill. I want Neo to be the chill, and her aura breaks, and we see what is underneath. Even if she's not a chill. I think the idea that Hunter had of Neo's aura breaking, and we see who she really is when she's not illusioning herself to look the way she does. Because a lot of people have the theory that the appearance that Neo has is not her actual appearance, and that there's somebody, like, even under that. But Neo's aura has never broken, so we've just never seen it. I hope that it's a chill under there. Not gonna lie.
I think
but,
you'll see that she's not actually Neapolitan. Maybe she looks a lot more like Roman.
Yeah.
I had a theory that Neo's trans.
Yeah,
I feel like that shows the biases of me to trans and you to ghosts.
So I think that this would be cool to happen between, like, a Cinder, Neo, RWBY fight, which a lot of people think, again, this is gonna happen this volume. Of, you know, this is a reflection of what Cinder could be one day. She could be entirely grim, like Neo is sort of 50-50. Because I still think that a lot of it is Neo, but I think the grim is still in there, right? And so I also wonder, like, could this be because Neo invited the grim in, right? Because I watched this show called Bly Manor, and it basically sets up the rule that you have to invite the ghost into your body. And when you do, you have one ghost eye, and then you have your regular eye. So I feel like that, I know Bly Manor, obviously, is probably after, right, them creating the Neo backstory, but I'm sure that's a popular idea and other stuff too, right? So what if one of Neo's eye is the Grim or the Spirit or whatever, and then the other one, right?
The Haunting of Bly Manor was based off of, it's maybe a sequel to the book, The Haunting of Hill House, which came into the 1960s. So it's entirely possible that they could have known that. Like,
maybe that is why Neo has two different color eyes, because she is being...
Well, three different colored eyes.
Well, two, like, constant colored eyes. Two different colored eyes that she has constantly. That could be, like, one is the Grim, just a little faded, and that's why it's pink, because faded red is, like, lightish red.
I haven't totally been bought into your chill theory, but what I do want is that now we've gotten, in the last season, we've gotten a lot of Neo disguising herself as other people.
Yes.
And I want to see a lot of that. I think that if she dressed up as, like, imagine 2 Cinders.
I want to see, yes, I would like to see that. I want to see, like, Ironwood, like, Winter. Yeah. Like, I just want to see Neo fuck with everyone, and you're never quite sure if that's, like, actually RWBY, or, because, like, there's a scene where RWBY's wearing her hood, and she's hiding behind a bunch of stuff, if that makes sense. Like, she's hiding behind stuff, and I'm sure that's actually RWBY, but what if it wasn't? Like,
the whole time now, I'm looking in the background and being like, what background, like, what... Like, I feel like, is there going to be, like, refugees, and one of the refugees is just going to be Neo?
Yeah, because do you guys remember, like, when we realized that servant, and some people had that theory before we even got the close-up of her, right? So if that servant can be Neo, like, Neo is just everywhere, and that's a little scary.
Well, the person who I want to see the most is that I want a fight between Neo and Team Juniper, where Neo, to fuck with them, turns into Pyrrha.
Yeah, I think that would hurt.
Because she was there, she knew Pyrrha.
She did turn into Nora, too.
She turned into Nora, so, like, I think that would be, like, it would be like that scene in Volume 6 where they find Pyrrha's statue, but 80 times worse.
Exactly.
That would pull my heart out like a Mortal Kombat character. It would be bad.
The other thing I would like to see, and I think this would be kind of funny, but imagine, okay, so that Grimm is tracking down Oscar, right?
Yes.
What if Oscar falls, Neo is for some reason turning into Oscar, and then Neo gets brought to Salem? That would be kind of funny. And then like, Salem would be like, you have the answers for me, Ozpin, and Neo's just like,
we have ways of making you talk.
Because I wonder if that could be, you know, because they've been running around as Oscar, like, and RWBY and stuff, so I wonder, like, what if Cinder wants Neo to turn into Oscar for something, but then the Grimm is like, oh, Oscar's over there, ha ha ha, right? And somehow, like, she gets taken up to Salem, too. I think that something like that would kind of be funny. Or maybe, like, Neo's turned into RWBY, right, to do something, to fuck with someone. I'm not sure who she would be fucking with, right? But what if she just gets carried away because the Grimm, how did the Grimm know, right? I wonder if the Grimm could, like, sniff it out, because I feel like the Grimm was smelling the relic to find Oscar, but whatever. Let's talk about Cinder.
Oh, Cinder.
So we have a couple ideas.
Yeah,
so
we've had a lot of backstories.
It's basically like, are you Team Rose or are you Team Schnee? There's basically like no
or
other
are you
option.
Team unaffiliated?
Are you Team Watts? There's also that idea.
Or
that
are you
Cinder
Team she has an unaffiliated team, like not related to any of them?
So we've had the theory. Okay, the scientist theory is dead because they said in the commentary that Cinder is not the daughter of the female Atlas scientist with the black hair. So that's dead. But we have the Watts is Cinder's father, the least popular, but has, you know, somehow come up because of the summer theory that Crow is Cinder's father. Okay, so we have Watts, Crow, Jacques, right? That Cinder is inadvertently the half-sister of Weiss and Winter. And then we have the theory that Cinder is Summer Rose's, like, first child. And all that stuff. And so we made a video about that. We made a video about both of those, so you guys should watch it. But I don't know which one I hope for most, but I want either of those. Either of those are what I want.
You know what?
I don't want anything else that I know of. Maybe I'll see something and I'll want it when we see it in terms of Cinder backstory, but if she has one, that one.
I mean, we kind of know the general idea that, like, betrayed by the family wants power. We know the broad strokes. I feel like we do this a lot where we carpet bomb, where we try to think of every possible iteration.
But I think it's really Team Rose or Team Schnee. Speaking of Crow being the father, we're gonna talk about Crow for a minute.
I really look forward to the Maury Povich collection for the coupe.
Oh boy.
You're the father, and it's just
imagine,
every male character.
That would actually be so funny if Rooster Teeth decided to really play into the fact that, like, everyone thinks Crow is RWBY's father. It's just like a cartoon version of Murray in RWBY-esque clothes. Like, you are not the father.
If we should sell a shirt where it's just Cinder is like
blank.
It's just Cinder is like Crow's child, X out Crow. Then we got Jacques, X out Jacques.
Oh my god.
Then we got
Summer,
X out Salem, X out Hazel.
Oh my god.
Zwei, Oobleck. It's just every male RWBY character down the list.
Oh my god. Anyway, Crow, Robin, Jacques, and Watts all in prison, okay? Here's what I'm saying, alright? Crow already worked with the bad guys once. If Raven and Ty don't come to save him, what's the harm in working with the bad guys one more time? Because, like, Watts is in a prison that is made up of light dust, and he's getting his ass kicked, right? But he's been shown to be able to manipulate that hard light dust in the past, and I'm sure they've confiscated, like, I'm sure they've, like, I'm sure he's taken his stuff that they could find on him.
Well, I'm trying to think of, like, the stuff on his person. What if on his glasses, or if he has an earring? Or, like, he has a belly button ring and he pops the belly button ring off and he's like,
I'm
never
sure
leave home without it.
I'm sure they've confiscated most of the stuff that Watts has, but I'm just thinking that Crow will work with the bad guys again, that he will be like, we want the same thing, Crow. We both want to see Ironwood's downfall, right? So let's escape. And then they just leave Jacques there. I think that would be a comedic scene, like comedically leaving Jacques in the prison, but Robin and Crow being able to get out. Right?
Yes.
I think that would be fun.
Comedic.
And I think that would be like, you know, because he worked with Tyrion, but working with Tyrion, it was a little stupid, Crow, not gonna lie. But working with Watts, that makes a lot more sense because they have the same agenda. Like, they're on different sides, but Watts wants to get revenge on Ironwood, and so does Crow. So it's like,
and also
at that
Crow
point,
hasn't been making great choices as of late.
He hasn't, right?
So I feel like we're gonna see more bad Crow choices till we see some good Crow choices.
So this is funny. So Hunter had this idea, but it's exactly like a video that I never released. So
really?
I think that it's so funny.
I think we had conversations like this.
We probably did. So I was making this video about just how to fix Robin Hill as a character, and I never released it, and I didn't finish it.
Well, because I think Robin Hill's
I didn't record it, but I basically said that it would have been better, maybe, or more interesting if Robin was either working with the leftovers of the White Fang, or if Robin was the leftovers of the White Fang.
We definitely had those conversations.
We probably
during watching Volume 7 or pre-Volume 7.
Because that's what we sort of, like, Robin could be, you know, a faunus that had her wings, you know, literally her wings cut off by the Schnee Dust Company. Very, like, gnarly stuff
I almost
going on
wrote
with
that into a fan fiction once.
I know, and I love that idea. And so you have here, Hunter, if you would like to read out your idea.
So in order to save the people of Mantle, either Team RWBY or the Happy Huntresses, I imagine the Happy Huntresses are like, we know people, and they take Team RWBY, and they team up with a remnant or splinter group of the White Fang, who smuggle the rest of, like, the Mantle civilians out of the city through underground tunnels that they maybe use as, like, smuggling operations. Because
they do want to go into the crater, right? And so I feel like, you know...
Or, like just to keep people safe.
Yeah, because they're all supposed to be going into the crater to get out of the city. And the crater would have tunnels because it's a mine.
Also, what would be really cool is, like, what if we see, like, Sienna Khan's younger sister or something?
Like, something like that?
Yeah, that'd be so,
Khan? Like, random, bro. Like, just because it's been so long. But yeah, I do want the White Fang stuff to be relevant and to be done well, because like the Unicorn of War released a video basically pointing out everything wrong and like slightly racist going on,
or
questionable things going on with the White Fang storyline, and so if they could fix it, I feel like it could be
This would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also think that this would explain the show your teeth graffiti.
Yeah, because like we never got anything about that. So what does it, you know what I mean? I want Robin to be a faunus, but I also would like sort of your idea, right?
I believe that, like, there will be some kind of, like, obviously Atlas as we know it will be gone, but there'll be some kind of, like, maybe they'll call it New Atlas or New Mantle, and there'll be some kind of new government, and Robin will be the, or like they'll elect a leader, or she'll be the interim leader.
Yeah.
And it'll be like it'll be like very pro-democracy.
Here's the thing about that though, is like, does Robin have the capabilities to be a military general? Because she is a huntress, but like...
she kind of reminds me of like a Che Guevara, like or like a Lawrence of Arabia, like a guerrilla fighter.
I don't know what that means.
So like a conventional military is like we send in the troops, but a guerrilla military like goes in behind enemy lines and disturbs things.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like the Viet Cong or like various revolutionaries.
I have no idea what Hunter's talking
about.
Here's
do
the
not
thing.
know that much about military history.
I see your Robin and I raise you Winter. I think that makes the most sense. Winter is the right-hand man of Ironwood, right? If she changes heart and Ironwood dies, because Ironwood's dying. I don't know if you guys know this. Ironwood's dying. Like, I'm 80% sure that Ironwood is not making it out of this volume alive, right? And so if you have that happening, I think that it makes sense for at least Robin and Winter to have some type of alliance together. Or maybe Robin does the politician stuff, but Winter does the military stuff, right? I feel like that would make sense, but I don't think Robin could run Ironwood's position by herself.
Yes. What I think it's going to be more of like a coalition. Listen, I don't know if you've been watching the news right now.
Oh, God.
Democracy
You basically think that it's going to be like a coup. Like, they're not necessarily going to hold up Ironwood's old military system anyway, so Robin doesn't need to replace it,
but like a
right?
rebirth of a better democracy.
Sure.
Or like a better form of government. And I think it's going to be like multiple people. I think the leader of the White, or the ex-leader of the White Fang, the new person.
If they exist.
If they exist, I think they'll be there. I think Pietro will be there. Maybe that's what Pietro gets to do.
Well, we're going to talk about
Maria
Pietro.
what gets to do. Maybe. I think that maybe Winter or potentially Marrow, someone from there, and then we also have, the Mantle people.
So basically like a new stitched together group
a
that
new
all have
government.
different experiences,
like,
right? Winter has the
equal
military experience, Robin has the political experience,
yes.
Pietro has the scientific mind. That's basically
and they're gonna, and it's basically, and I feel like, because the Volume 7 was very much about, like, the distortion of democracy.
Sure.
And I feel like maybe this one will be a more optimistic, like, we'll make governance and democracy work better.
I think Atlas is gonna fall and there won't be anything left.
Well, it won't be called Atlas. It'll be, like, New Mantle or whatever.
I think Atlas is gonna fall into Mantle and there won't be... I think you're too hopeful, Hunter. I don't think this volume...
You're the first time anyone's ever called me too hopeful.
I don't think this volume is gonna end on a hopeful note at all. Like, I do like your idea of, let's rebuild democracy. No, I think Atlas is gonna crash into Mantle, explode into fiery death, and everyone's gonna have to escape to Vacuo. I think that's just kind of it. I don't know what they're gonna do with the refugees from Atlas per se, but I think
what if it's just like
RWBY,
straight up? What if it's like gonna be a Mountain Glen situation?
Yeah,
that they all die
that's what I'm saying. They're all in the they're in the crater. They're in the tunnels. Did we learn nothing from Mountain Glen? That's my other prediction that I wanted to talk about, right? Did we learn nothing from Mountain Glen? All those people, they're dying, Hunter. I don't know how to tell this to you. They're all dead.
Oh my
God. They're all gonna die.
Oh my God, what if there's like a genocide?
Yeah, they're all gonna die.
RWBY got dark in Volume 7? It's gonna go black.
This sort of goes with my theory that at the very end of the show there will be one kingdom. Right? Like, obviously people from, they will all have culture. Like, you can keep the Vacuo culture, you can keep the Mistral culture, right? But there will be one united kingdom, and if Atlas falls, right, it will be the Vacuo and Vale land to build one kingdom, like a giant wall sort of around, the continent, because Mistral is not connected to Vacuo and Vale, right? So I'm thinking, like, Atlas is just done. It's Antarctica. No one's going there anymore, right? All that sort of stuff.
You know what this might remind me of? It reminds me of the ending of Final Fantasy 3/6. Because like at the end of the game, the clown guy destroys the entire world.
Yeah.
But there's a post-credit sequence where they like build up the world again.
Yeah.
Like, society heals, and
so
maybe that's what
I'm thinking. Atlas is just kaput, right? What we do get at the very end of the show is like one continent, one kingdom, unified thing. But for now, to sort of have that unification, Atlas and like Mistral, here's a weird thing. So in the fairy tale book, this may not be literal at all, but in the fairy tale book, it says that the gods did not really leave Remnant, but they're just sleeping on the dragon continents. And so one dragon is one and the other dragon is the other, if that makes sense. Like both of the gods, right? And one of the brothers is on Mistral. So if he wakes up and he is quite literally the continent, Mistral will also be gone. So that's my theory for like the end of the show is like this unification. There will only be Vale, like the remnants of Vale and Vacuo left, and they will rebuild one kingdom, one society, all sort of like connected and all that stuff, and it'll be nice and hopeful. But this volume, Mountain Glen, the refugees are dying. Hunter, sorry to tell you, sorry to say. Speaking of death, let's talk about at least, like, first rematch, okay? with Tyrion. I feel like we're gonna have a Tyrion rematch, whether that's with just like Team Juniper, what's left of Team Juniper. I feel like I don't know if Crow and Tyrion need a rematch again, because Crow's not even mad at Tyrion anymore. I don't think. I think he's just mad at Ironwood. So
I feel like it would be
RWBY
more interesting
versus
to see
Tyrion.
Aesop's versus Tyrion.
Yeah,
like
to get revenge from for
part of me, what I think would be really cool is just like a giant free for all where all of our ideas of every fight that could happen happen.
Just at the exact same time.
War.
Chaos.
Yes.
Chaos. Oh boy. I think what's gonna happen, and we talked about this on Twitter, but like Bumblebee is going to be like, okay, kiss goodbye, right? Like, you know, we have to split up. Yang and Blake will like, and then they'll like, you know, split up with their teams or whatever, and that'll also inspire Renora to do something because they see Blake and Yang are sort of, you know, giving this goodbye as if they may die. Well, I'm just saying, like, Ren may initiate it and be like, you know, like, despite our argument, Nora, like, you know, come back safe, I still love you, like that sort of vibe with the kiss. Or, and we had this other theory that Ren will sort of see Blake and Yang kiss each other and he'll just cross his arms and he'll look at Nora and he won't kiss her and he'll regret it later. He'll regret not saying goodbye to her because one of them is going to bite it.
I don't know if it's going to be a kiss. What I think what will happen, I don't think it'll be as big as dramatic and as Nora and Ren's were. I think it'll be very subtle and very quiet, of just like a reassurance. What I think might happen is that Blake and Blake will. I think it needs to be Blake to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's important. That Blake needs to be the one. Like, I'm investing in this. I think that Blake will give a piece of her ribbon and wrap it around her wrist as some kind of token.
Like Yang's wrist?
Yes.
Oh,
Yang's
cute.
wrist as some kind of token
Because Blake
of like.
has Bumblebee now in her weapon.
Yes.
Right? She has that little splash of gold, right?
I think that it'll be kind of like a promise or like a symbolic display of their relationship as like, give this back to me next time you see me.
Aww.
I think that'll be really sweet, and I think they will kiss, but it won't be like a big fireworks moment. I think it'll be like, that'll be what's really beautiful about that relationship. It's about two people trying to survive together.
Yeah.
And it won't be like dramatic and crazy. It'll just be like, we're just trying to survive and
I definitely hope that they do confirm Bumblebee in Volume 8 because like it's been a while,
it's kind of there,
right? Like it's already there.
I was watching someone else's video where they were like, they were complaining about that. It was like, tell us if they're dating. I'm like, guys, they're very clearly in some kind of...
people want the confirmation.
A little bit of like,
you know,
I want to be wooed. I want angst. I want a slow burn.
The confirmation.
I want it to fucking...
Because I feel like people have had enough, especially with after like the Clover and Crow stuff. Like I feel like people, they're like, okay, do it. Like, just fucking do it, right? And so, you know, and I feel like with Ren and Nora, like, I feel like that what you're saying is definitely going to happen, Hunter, and that's either going to spur Ren to kiss Nora, like, in another subtle way, like, not the big fireworks kiss we've got before, or it's going to spur Ren to, like, just look away, and he can't even look at Nora,
I think it won't be, because
later.
obviously them kissing didn't solve all their problems. I think they'll have some kind of more adult, like, conversation.
I mean, they can have a hug, you know, I'm just saying, like, I want it to either spur something in Ren so he gives Nora this like tight goodbye hug, like, you know, even though we're splitting up, like, I'm not mad at you, I want you to be safe, or it does the exact opposite and Ren like can't even look at her, Ren looks away, and then later he regrets like still being mad at her and not like, you know how they say like adults like say I love you before they go to bed even if they're fighting, like just so you don't have that regret of like, you know, waking up in the morning and they're like, I don't know, dead or hurt or something like that. Like you always say I love you even if you're fighting because you don't know what's gonna happen, and even if you're fighting now that doesn't mean, you know what I mean, like you may regret it later. But yeah, speaking of regret, speaking of death, let's talk about Maria and Pietro. So I have this theory that Maria and Pietro will fly to the other kingdoms to try and warn them about Salem, right? So to Mistral and to Vacuo, and they'll either succeed in that and then they're just gone from the volume, or more likely, based on the Pinocchio stuff going on, they will actually be eaten by the whale. And so some people think if Maria and Pietro get eaten by the whale, Pietro's just done for, okay? He will be immediately discarded because there's really no point in having him around. She already has Watts, she already has a scientist, she doesn't need Pietro, right? Like, I mean, she could use Pietro as a penny bait, right? But, like, you know, as a whole, Pietro's useless to her. Maria, they may have a conversation, but here's what I think. So, Pietro will either die here or he'll die later, which I know is a little, like, carpet bombing, like Hunter says, but, like, bear with me. So, Maria and Pietro get caught by the whale, and option 1 is that he just dies. And then after he dies, Maria confronts Salem about the genocide of her people. Or she does that before, which distracts Salem enough to stop her from killing Pietro. So either way, there will be a conversation where Maria talks with Salem about the genocide of the Silver-Eyed Warriors, right? Because again, in the fairy tale book, we can assume that this is probably true, that, you know, they used to be abundant. Like, Silver-Eyed Warriors used to be everywhere, and then they started to be hunted and killed by other humans, and that's obviously a reference to Salem, right? And I feel like Salem would find this conversation fascinating, right? Because Salem enjoys fucking with people at the end of the day, and I think that she would enjoy fucking with people so much that she would entertain this conversation with Maria, even though Maria and Pietro really are dead weight, right, for her, or whatever, right? She just ate the ship so they wouldn't go warn the other kingdoms and all that stuff, right? But I could see that this conversation interests her, and maybe this is also where we get other hints of what happened to Summer, because Maria, like, could, you know, bring that sort of out of her, like what she did to the other Silver-Eyed Warriors and stuff. And by the time Penny comes to save Maria and Pietro, Pietro could already be dead. Right? But I also have the theory that if Pietro is alive, like, later on, I feel like Penny's gonna get destroyed a third time. Yeah. Regardless. And you said this, like, in a different prediction that we have on the list, but you said that her core is gonna be destroyed and we won't see Penny again until the epilogue. Yes. I think that it could be sooner than that, and what will happen is that either, like, Pietro will sort of funnel the last of himself into Penny to bring her back one more time, or if Pietro is already dead, Maria will actually transfer her soul to Penny, which is a theory I had since Volume 7. So I don't know if you guys remember, but I had this theory that Maria would transfer her aura into Penny to bring her back, and they would both die that way. That Maria, finding out what happened to her people, finding out what Salem did to the Silver-Eyed Warriors, there's nothing really else for her to live for. So if she can stop Pietro from dying, or if he's already dead, sort of, heed his final wish, he would have wanted to bring Penny back, right? So basically, if Pietro is dead, she would do it in memory of, like, Pietro's final wishes. If Pietro's not dead, she would do it to save Pietro so he doesn't have to suffer the loss, like she suffered the loss of her people type thing. And so basically what I think would happen is that Maria could be representative of that blue fairy, the one that sort of gives her soul to Penny and gives all of her aura to Penny this sort of final time. And I also had sort of the theory that, you know, Maria is a Silver-Eyed Warrior, and that is creation power from the God of Light. And so what if that, in a sense, makes Penny a real girl? And what if that is the blue fairy sort of inspiration? If her aura transferring into Penny and giving Penny her life, basically, like giving Penny her life, what if that would somehow create life? Because it is, like, so in the fairy tale book, and I don't want to bring it up too much because not everything in the fairy tales is literal, right? Like, some of them, they're just stories. But when you think about the story, like, it basically says that the God of Light, like, everything that he has made is him, in a sense. It's very much like there's a rabbit, like, that rabbit has light in it because the God of Light created it. And so what if, like, the Silver Eyes, if they are a gift from the God of Light, could they not also have that raw creation power as well? Like, I feel like it could affect Penny somehow. Yeah. I don't know how it would make her human exactly, but, like, stranger things have happened, right? So that's sort of my theory, is that Maria will transfer her entire aura to Penny, whether it is done in Pietro's, like, final wishes, or so Pietro does not have to die, and then Maria will die. But I think that Maria and Pietro, I think they're donezo this volume. I think that they're just... I think they have I think they're done. Yeah. I think they're done.
They certainly ran out of things to do.
So yeah, that's my whole, like, that's my big theory for, like, Maria and Penny and, like, Pietro and stuff. And so we already mentioned that Penny, you think that she'll go away, but they'll do it at the very end.
On one hand, I'm not entirely convinced they will kill Penny, because before I thought they would have to because she was too OP.
I think it's, like, 3 times, right? She's died once, she's died twice. Like, usually, like, in literature and stuff, it's, like, the rule of 3 sort of thing, right? And so I could see Penny going down a 3rd time. You know, and it's also very, like, not Jesus-y, but, like, it reminds me, like, Jesus came back on the 3rd day or something. So that sort of reminds me of Penny for some reason. And also, Pinocchio comes to life 3 times, right? He goes from puppet he goes from an animate to a puppet, and then he goes from a puppet to a donkey, and then he goes from the donkey into the real boy sort of thing, right? So there's three sort of transformations with Pinocchio.
Of her becoming a real girl, so to speak. And
I wonder if, like, could the Silver Eyes do that? Because I know they destroyed Grimm, but they're also creation power. So what if Penny does not become a silver-eyed warrior? That's not what I'm saying, but she becomes a real girl with the real maiden powers, right? But here's the thing. If Penny dies, would they go? Right? Or would they just stay in Penny's core if she could be, like, rebuilt again? Like, if Penny dies again, would the powers stay there, or would they transfer?
I guess they would.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I think that would be sort of fun.
If
Penny dies and they
auras,
rebuild
right?
Penny, and Penny is a real girl now, but then she doesn't have the maiden powers anymore. So that sort of decreases her OP-ness if she's not a robot anymore. And she cannot be brought back after Maria does the transfer.
And if she does come back in the epilogue, I imagine she comes back without, like, a total, like, not as a killing machine.
Yeah.
Just as a regular girl.
Let's talk about some other stuff.
Okay.
Ruby losing an eye. Every single year people think this is going to happen, I think.
Why is that? That's such a weird meme.
Tyrion's like an eye for an eye.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if we do get that Tyrion-Ruby rematch, like, that could happen, but I think it's time for Ruby to lose something. Okay, Weiss has gotten stabbed, alright? Blake has gotten stabbed, Yang got her arm cut off, like, it's Ruby's turn, sis.
To lose an eye?
It's her turn to lose a body part, right? And I think the eye, here's my problem with Ruby, I guess, is that there weren't really lasting consequences for Yang. Right? Like, she dealt with the PTSD, but in terms of actually using the robot arm, like, it's not Full Metal Alchemist where the arm breaks all the time and there's consequences to that. It's not Full Metal Alchemist where it gets cold when it goes into the north. I'm so surprised that they didn't make Yang's arm. I know it was built in Atlas, so it probably had that in mind, but with Full Metal Alchemist, there's this whole thing of changing your auto mail because of the cold and all that stuff. And so I just feel like that they haven't really done enough with the prosthetic that it is, you know, it sort of causes consequence. That it sort of causes consequences. It hasn't broken.
What if she
It hasn't been destroyed.
Break?
That would kind of be cool, but I say the eye thing because I get that Maria has prosthetic eyes, basically. Maria can see. But if Ruby loses an eye, that would decrease her silver-eyed warrior power. So I feel like that would be an injury that has an actual consequence. Because when you think about it, like, Blake being stabbed and, like, Sun being electrocuted, like, Sun was, like, wrapped up in bandages, but he's okay. Right? Like, I want an actual hindrance that will, even if Ruby does get like one prosthetic eye and she can see, she can't use her power.
Or
I
like
think that's necessary.
Patch Ruby?
Eye patch Ruby. I love eye patch Ruby.
I feel like, I don't know, do you think they would really do eye patch Ruby?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Also, could you imagine the scene where someone like cuts the eye out, like Salem cuts her eye? God, that'd be so brutal.
I love it though.
Oh,
I love
goodness.
stuff like that. Watts' death. Let's talk about Watts.
Yeah,
I cannot see Watts coming with us to Vacuo. I don't think he would have anything to do, and I know that he can leave the story through other ways than death, right? But really he can't, because Salem will still need him. But the thing is, like, Salem can't really use him in Vacuo. Vacuo doesn't have technology. I mean, it does, but, like, in the book they say, you know, people despise Atlas technology in Vacuo, right? And so, like, what would Watts even do? I feel like Watts, you're leaving, sis. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on Watts, or are we good with it?
I mean, when you really think about it, like, Cinder survived, Tyrion survived, Hazel survived. I don't know. Like,
I feel like they gotta go, though. I feel like Watts, he's gotta go.
I can see that.
In terms of Juniper, I still have that death theory that Ren or Nora will die, like, just straight out die. Or Jean will have the choice of which one to save. And so he'll either pick one and then the other one will, you know, resent him for his choice, or he will sacrifice himself so both of them can live instead. Do you understand what I mean, Hunter? So basically we have Ren dies, Nora dies, I guess both of them die, or Jean sacrifices himself so both of them can live, right? Because Jean basically has aura amplification, but what if he can only choose one? And I feel like that would be a fucky choice to make. And I feel like that it kind of would be better narratively if he chooses one. Like, say he chooses Ren, and Ren is just, like, distraught by the fact that, you know, he lost Nora and all that stuff. But I also like the idea of Jean just self-sacrificing so both of them could live. And maybe they would be like, Jean died so we could continue, and we can't, you know, fight with each other and do all of this stuff because Jean gave us the second chance at life. Like, I feel like that would be, like, really impactful to have Jean die. But I feel like Jean's not done.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I just don't
feel like Ren and
done.
Nora aren't done either. I feel like Juniper shouldn't die. Honestly.
I feel like that Ren and Nora could be done this volume. I feel like they could be. Not that they're going to be, but I feel like they could be done. So, I don't feel like Jean's done, though. I feel like Jean still has stuff with Cinder. That's the thing, is that
But then I'm like, is Cinder going to be with Ruby or is Cinder going to be with Jean?
Like, fighting?
Yes. Like,
I don't know.
when's the final confrontation?
But, I feel like Jean kinda... I feel like Jean kinda needs to confront Cinder, but I don't know. Like, does Jean still hate Cinder more than Ruby? And does Jean's fight with Cinder move the narrative more than it would a fight with Ruby? If that makes sense. Like Cinder fighting Ruby. Because to me it seems like Cinder fighting Ruby is the big ticket event. Right? Whereas Jean fighting Cinder, it's like, well, obviously Jean's not going to kill Cinder now. I don't think that would make any sense after they just brought Cinder back, right? So yeah, I don't know. But I feel like Ren or Nora, they could be done this volume. Like, I feel like they could kill one of them this volume.
I could see that as well.
But yeah. Let's talk about Ironwood. I don't see Ironwood getting out of here.
Definitely. If any of the deaths,
Ironwood's mega dying, if that makes sense.
Mega dying.
Ironwood's like, I'm sort of 50-50 on the Ren and Nora stuff. Ironwood's like 80%. Ironwood's 80% dead. That's how I sort of see it. I think if Atlas falls, this is how I see it, is like, Atlas is literally falling out of the sky. Everyone else escapes like with the Relic or something. And he just stands in his office, which is like the highest point of Atlas. And he just stands there and goes down with the ship. And he just dies by, I guess, blunt force trauma. He just like dies crashing into Mantle.
In a crashing
and
city.
It's like the captain going down with the ship. Like some people think Crow may kill him. I don't think Crow actually is gonna kill Ironwood. Like, I feel like they're basically gonna beat each other into a pulp and then they're gonna stop. Like, I feel like they're gonna get all of their anger out on each other, but then they're gonna just stop, you know? But yeah, that's sort of how I see it. I think that Atlas will literally fall out of the sky, crash into the ground, and he will fall with the ship. That's basically what I'm thinking.
I honestly, I would agree. Personally, do you think that maybe Crow and Ironwood will die together, like in that kind of brutal fisticuffs? I don't want him to go either.
I don't want Crow to die, but at the same time, I'm like, is Crow done? That's the question. If we find out what happened to Summer and stuff this volume, like, is Crow really done? Because I don't know. I don't know if Crow is done yet. Honestly, like, in some ways, I can see how they'd finish off Crow this volume, just because... I don't know, like, he just has this tragic story, but I feel like the story of the Starks has not been revealed yet for him to die. Yeah. So I don't know. I really just don't know with Crow. Crow is not in any of the trailers. He has not been promoted at all. Like, Crow and that whole storyline is just an enigma, right? The only thing we see is him looking at Clover's pin. So we don't really know. We don't know anything. And also,
isn't he in the room being interrogated with? Or
well,
no, that's
he's
Jacques
not in there, but he should be in prison.
He might show up later in that scene.
So yeah, we don't really know. Finally, I think this is a good point to sort of talk about this. So Phoenix Knight talked about Willow and Whitley in his video. I don't remember what kind of video. I think it was the death video, because I think he said that Willow's gonna die. And so he talked about Willow and Whitley, and to be honest, I didn't even fucking think about Willow and Whitley while we were making this Hunter. Like, I didn't even consider them, because it's not that I didn't care, but I was just
really excited for Willow to show up.
I didn't think about them at all, right? And so, like, when I was sort of, making this list and all that stuff, he said it was possible that Salem may target the Schnee Dust Company because they're the biggest supplier of dust. What does Salem need? She needs some dust. Who supplies to her enemies? The Schnee Dust Company, right? So she can cut off that supply. That would be a big thing. And so I feel like that it would be really cool for Willow to just go nuts. Like, for her to pull out every single summon she can, protect Whitley, and, like, die doing that. And then Weiss will come sort of just in time to save Whitley, but Willow will sort of be no more. And those words that Willow sort of told her, like, don't forget about your brother, will sort of echo in her head. And she knows that, they have to protect Whitley and get Whitley out of here because her mom, like, literally died for it. And Jacques isn't there anymore. And maybe Whitley will be a better person without Jacques' influence, right?
Yeah. You mentioned something there that Salem needs dust. It would be really interesting if, like, Jacques is captured by Salem, and then Salem's like, you work for me now. And so
because Watts was working with Jacques, right? So.
Yeah, and so then maybe that's when, like, Whitley and Willow, like, leave Jacques. I think maybe there'll be a fight. I like the idea of, like, what if they bust out the menagerie from the DC comics and all the animals fight? What if, like... What if Willow
I don't want to see that menagerie.
What if Willow is like a really good huntress and like she just destroys them? That would be really great.
You know what would be funny? I kind of want Willow to kill Jacques.
That would be kind of, yeah.
I know, like, I don't know. But he just did so much to her.
Yeah.
I don't know,
sometimes success is the best revenge, and I like the idea of Willow and Whitley, like, leaving and, like, maybe joining Team
Hunter
Ruby.
has the randomest fucking headcanon, by the way, so if you want to read that.
So, okay, so if Willow is fighting with her summons, what if, like, Willow's about to get it, but then out of nowhere, right, Whitley, so turns out Whitley's real passion was mechanics and science, and that something Jock didn't want him to pursue, only the company. They didn't suggest that at all, so that's probably not being a thing. But, like, what if he had, like, this building-sized mech suit that he made in his spare time?
You know what, though? It's
and just beats the shit out of Salem
doesn't have his semblance unlocked, so what if either what you're saying, he does get a mech suit, and that's how he fights, or his semblance unlocks, like, right here, protecting his mom. Because that could show that Whitley is not just, like, a shit child, right? That he actually cares about his mom. So what if his semblance awakens in that moment? Like, he sort of, his mom is fighting for him, he sort of lifts up his arms, and just the summons just come right out of his hands or something. And then we see that Whitley isn't just, like, a shitty child,
That, I don't know, I kind of like my robot idea, I'm going to be honest with you. I only want it to happen because I want him to do something with Whitley. I like the idea of them leaving with Ruby and, like, Jacques being working with Salem more directly now. I also kind of like the idea of Willow and Whitley joining, like, the ragtag Ruby as they slum it over to Vacuo. I like the idea of, like, fish out of water.
I don't think they're coming. I don't think
they will. But I at least want a couple scenes of, like, peasant food, or, like, where's the liquor? And then Crow's like, don't look at me. I think something like that would be cool.
Yeah,
obviously, I don't want it to become the Willow and Whitley show, but at least give them some cool moments.
Yeah, sure.
So the last one, I don't even really have any content for what this would look like.
Well, because we don't know what the volume looks like then. How would you predict the post-credit scene?
I think they will do a post-credit scene. I think this for two reasons. One, I think they didn't do it the first time for crunch reasons, to avoid crunch. I think also with COVID, maybe they were on a time schedule that they can't do it again, so I think it's still up in the air.
Yeah.
But I also think the reveal of the giant whale grim of Monstro was such a mic drop that they could end it like that, and anything else would have weakened it.
Yeah.
And so I think with this time they won't have that mic drop. No, so I think there will be a post-credit scene.
If this is the end of Atlas,
yes,
I want the post-credit scene to be Team Coffee and Vacuo. Please, if we are going to Vacuo, in Volume 9, because I'm not sure yet.
Oh, I guess because it sends the response.
Like, what if the CT tower goes up and we see Team Coffee for the first time? So if there is a post-credit scene, we do not know yet if Volume 9 is going to be an Atlas or not. We don't really know. Some people think they're going to go to Vacuo. Some people think it's going to be like a travel time
I think it's
volume or something, like all that sort of stuff. But if there is a post-credit scene and they are going to Vacuo next, some people think that we may be going to Salem's Grim Island or something, right? Like, stuff like that. If there is a post-credit scene, I want to see Coco, I want to see Fox, I want to see Yatsu, and I want to see Velvet. I want to see Team Sun, and I want to see Team Coffee, and they're all just sitting together, and that's a post-credit scene, and maybe they are watching the CCTV thing, and they're like, fuck, man, look what Team Ruby's got into, like, stuff like that. I just want to see them. I want to see them so bad. But yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah.
I think we covered
everything. There's a lot. I mean, an hour, like 30 different predictions. I'm gonna have to edit this, bro. There's a couple that had to be right.
I hope so.
God, imagine if
it's just Oscar being kidnapped. That's it, and we said that at the very beginning. Everything else is just
psych. New episodes of RWBY Chibi.
Oh God. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. We had so much fun making it, and the volume's tomorrow. So very, very exciting.
A week
for you guys, not for us. We have to wait. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.